right, it is 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, and yeah, that clock is working. Bob Kennedy is here. My headphones are not working. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, well, that might be why. There's no wire in there. Bob Kennedy is here. He's going to talk about real estate with you, and I'll make sure everybody's microphone's on. If I can see the lights moving, then I know we're on the air. Good morning, Bob. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm wonderful on the St. Patrick's Day.
Great. Can't hear anything.
Well, it's really fun because St. Patrick's Day, you learn a lot of history, and you learn a lot of the different classes of people throughout history, how it pertains to their own particular real estate, especially investing.
Well, I'm half Irish, and I can tell you we don't learn about anything about history. We just all focus on the beer.
Oh, well, there you go. Yay. You're my man.
But
good job.
Yeah, I talk a big game.
So you know what I thought was interesting? There was an art. Are you familiar with the website AskMen.com?
Yes. Once in a while, you'll see advertising.
All right, it's kind of a college guy type of a site.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So they were they had this article, the top 10 things you really don't need, right? And one of them, I was surprised, said home ownership. Now, I don't know if they're talking to that age group, but it said it is one of the significant signs of adulthood is owning one's own living space. In the years prior to 2008, subprime and variable rate mortgages enchanted many with their offers of capital-free home ownership, and then brought down the entire economy. Anyway, it goes on and on and on to say, you might be better off just renting. Is that ever the case?
Sure. There's certainly cases where home ownership isn't really the way to go.
So it's an individual thing.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're settled into an area and you plan on being in that area for at least, minimum 3 to 5 years, my question is, why would you not own a home?
Yeah, same thing with me. I mean, the rent will go up if
your rent goes up.
Yeah.
You're not getting any tax benefits. Owning real estate is one of the last real tax advantaged investments for the average person. But plus, I mean, if you're some people don't want the aggravation of owning a home, and I understand that, but I would say for the vast majority of us, home ownership is a big, big positive.
But almost everybody who has money has land, has real estate.
True. That's a good point. I mean, everybody's going to own something. Some people don't want it. I get it, but I would take exception with that article probably overall.
We had a guest on, and I gave you a copy of his book, and he was on the other day about investing in commercial real estate.
Yes.
So I know that's kind of the direction you wanted to go in, and just talk about that a little bit, especially if it was what was the word he used when it was not run down, not troubled, but.
Oh, I can't recall.
When real estate, when financially, maybe it looks good still, but financially they're having a problem.
With the rents or the tenants?
Yeah, with something's going on, and therefore you might be able to get it for a good price.
Sure.
And turn it around in your favor.
Well, in commercial real estate, it's a much more sophisticated game. And you're dealing with people, you may be dealing with anything from pretty high net worth people to real estate investment trusts, professional money managers, things of that nature that you don't really run into in the normal residential real estate, the guy that invests in a couple houses here and there. When you get into commercial real estate, there's tremendous, tremendous upside with the risk that goes with it, just like there's a lot of money to be made in developing land, being a builder, building a shopping center, but there's risks that, look at the shopping center out there on 200 that, they built that at the absolute peak of the market and it completely crashed, ended up being sold at auction.
But now it's doing well. So
yeah, they're coming. Well, they bought it. Now they got it at the right price, so they can rent it and get a return on that investment and everything else. But, the people that did it, money was easy to come by. They got it. They developed it. The plan was solid. I would imagine, but the economy crashed. They couldn't get the tenants in, and then the money comes due, and there's no way to pay it.
Now, the author had brought up Detroit because he had said that that area is really becoming a ghost town, and real estate investors are looking at that as possibly investing. Do you recommend something like that?
It depends on how deep your pockets are and how strong your constitution is. Because again, if you go into areas that are in an economic free fall, you're going to pick up stuff really cheap. And the sharp people know how to make a lot of money at that. But you got to have staying power. You have to have the vision for what to do, and that's a very, very sophisticated professional real estate play.
Can you invest in a blighted property, for lack of, I can't think of a better word, and then fix it up and actually turn it around that way? And years ago, I can remember when Fort King, which is now beautiful with those old historic homes, I can remember when they all looked like they were ready to be torn down. And somebody did something to make them all look nice.
Well, when you're investing in properties in an area, you're looking to guess that the area is going to come back, right?
Right.
So let's say it's only going to be marginal, and you're going to base your investment based on what's in that area now. So you have to know, if I have to buy a property and I have to fix it up, what can I get for rent? What are my costs to fix it? What is my return on that investment? If you're going to invest in an area like you're talking about, like Detroit and resident or anywhere, your return, you're going to look for a much, much bigger return than you're going to look for if you're buying a triple net lease with Walgreens as your tenant, because there's so much more at stake. I mean, you can just as easily lose that place as you can rent it. So people are going to look for a much bigger hit on that. Just like years ago when New York was really in rough shape. I mean, people were going in and buying stuff in Brooklyn and the outer boroughs, and now Brooklyn is like, it's almost like Manhattan prices in some areas. Yeah. But that takes time, and you have to know how to do it.
Isn't it interesting how when the value of property goes up, the crime goes away? I don't know if there's an explanation to that, but
well, it's probably more for a sociologist than a real estate agent.
Yeah, right.
But when you make an area attractive for more and more people to come in, it's gonna change. My daughter lives in Seattle, and they bought a house that was in an area that was so from an economic standpoint, where you had a lot of different things going on, very diverse, but it was kind of like a gentrifying area that it was, because there was so much demand for property, was pushing further and further away from downtown. So people were buying into those areas and making obviously driving up the prices.
Right. We're just about up to the 15-minute break. I want to invite the listeners, if you want to call in, this is a great time to call. The number is 622-9622. Maybe you need a lawn so you can look for four-leaf clovers today. I'm not trying to connect it with the whole St. Patrick's Day theme. So we'll be right back with Bob Kennedy and answer your questions about buying, renting, investing in real estate. And we'll be right back with Bob after this.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Plenty of sunshine on the way for today. Will be nice and warm for the afternoon, high 85 to 87. Tonight, a mainly clear sky, low 60 to 65. Partly sunny for tomorrow. Can't rule out a shower. High tomorrow, 79 to 84. Then as we get into the day on Thursday, we'll have some sunshine once again. High Thursday, 79 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. We are located in the heart of downtown Ocala, right next to the historic Marion Theater. I'd like to invite you to stop by and see our new boutique area and meet our staff of professional stylists. Here at Hello Gorgeous, we are ready to update your look with the latest trends. It's the perfect time to brighten up your look. So make your appointment now for those highlights and Brazilian blowout. But don't stop there. We are a full-service salon offering manicures, pedicures, and facials also. So if you've been searching for a salon to call your own, come and see us at Hello Gorgeous Salon. We are located at 48 South Magnolia Avenue in downtown Ocala, right next to the Marian Theater. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358.
Hello, gorgeous.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA.
16 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Bob Kennedy is here answering questions about real estate. And the one question that I have, I can't think of the one word that the guy said on the other day when we had him as a guest. So.
Well, you mentioned at the break REITs,
Yes.
real estate investment trusts, and that's basically mutual funds for people that invest in real estate.
Have you ever done that?
I have not personally. I know people that run them and work for them, and that.
And is it like owning an acre on the moon where it's on paper, but you really don't get, there's nothing out of it other than maybe a profit at the end of your time with it?
No, because real estate investment trusts are traded like stocks. They are stocks, and they own. It could be a real estate investment trust that is involved with apartment complexes, or it could be shopping centers, and they sell those shares out to the general public, just like Walmart or IBM or any other public company would. And right now, they're doing pretty good.
So could you eventually own a whole building? Like you could let's say own 51% of a corporation. Could you own 51% of the Empire State Building and then you have the say so about things that go on there or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of when you get into a lot of the larger properties, you're going to have, you'll have partners that invest, and then they'll go to the secondary market to borrow money, just like any other public company would.
Almost like Monopoly, the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people. I mean, there's a lot of fortunes made in people that buy real estate. I mean, the idea that you can go out and the guy that first started me in real estate, he said, real estate, you can always make money in real estate. You just got to live long enough to make sure it all pays off. So there's ups and downs.
But is it something fun? You know what somebody said? What would you do if you had $1 million? You quit your job and do what? And whatever the answer is to that question is what you should do for a living. So if you would say, if I had $1 million, I would quit my job and be a real estate agent, then that must mean you love working with real estate, which is, I'm assuming, what you do.
Sure, absolutely. This is in you. It's like a lot of things that you love to do. Once it gets in your blood, you can't get enough of it, and you can't quit it.
And you have to love working with people, because you have to make sure that the people that come to you have the right fit.
Oh, sure. We talk about this a lot. I mean, we have a lot of people that we've become friends with were people that we met through real estate transactions. And, you hit it off with them, and, and you just become, number one, you're involved with a person's life when you're doing a real estate transaction, especially when they're buying, because you're showing them houses, you're understanding what they're looking for, and if they're selling a house, you have an idea of what they're coming from, and you meet their family, the kids, what sports they play. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So one of the things that he was talking about investing in commercial real estate was that you don't have to have the money. You go to a bank to borrow the money. Okay, now if I borrow money for a house, I can understand that relationship. I'm going to owe you, the bank, money for this thing I'm living in.
Yes.
And if I don't pay you, you take back this thing, and I don't have this thing anymore.
Correct.
But if I borrow money to buy a strip mall,
Right.
obviously the bank will take it back if I don't pay it off, but it's not that much of a risk. So it's almost like I'm asking for somebody else to invest in something for me.
Well, it's the old OPM, other people's money.
Right.
Where real estate is built on leverage for the most part. And in the scenario you're talking about, the game's played differently. You go to a bank to buy a house, they're going to give you a 30-year mortgage, and you're going to put down whatever you're going to put down, 5, 10, 20% in most cases. You go to buy a strip mall, you're going to have to, in today's world, not only you're going to have a substantial down payment, you're going to have probably additional collateral behind just the building.
Oh, I see. So there's more to it.
There's a lot more to it, and the terms are going to be different. You don't get a 30-year loan in commercial real estate. You're probably going to get a 20-year loan with a 5-year balloon payment, which means in 5 years you have to refinance that loan.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so rates are going to be different in 5 years. The bank is going to look at the credibility of those tenants that you have. Are they national tenants? Are they local guys without good track records? All these things come into play because of the risk involved. The bank doesn't want the building back. They're in the business of loan money, not own real estate. So when you go in to buy that shopping center, you got to bring something to the table. It's not like, oh, well, I have a decent job. I can qualify for a home. They're looking at a lot more factors there.
I see. Okay.
Is it good when the different realtors work together with each other on certain properties?
Most agents do. The normal transaction has a list side, the listing agent, and the buy side, the buyer's agent. And usually one agent will have the buyer and another agent will have the seller, and they work together with the idea that they're representing opposite parties, just like you have two attorneys in a courtroom. But the name of the game is you're satisfying your client, and you work to get that done.
So it's better for the real estate people to work together than the buyer and the seller with each other.
Buyers and sellers are, it's hard. It's hard to, there's a reason that we're brokers.
Yeah.
I mean, you're able to take the emotion out of it and keep people understanding what the realities of the market are.
By the way, with the historic district in Ocala, I think when they decided to go to whoever they went to have it declared and named the historic district, I actually think that made everything become more prestigious and more, and people were investing in it more. It was just that simple act of naming that section, the historic district.
Yes, I agree.
I think it made a difference.
Totally. Yep, it did.
So it's probably the same truth for like a gated community. If you set up parameters that everything within these borders are going to have certain rules, and like a homeowners association,
yes,
that probably
it helps.
Increases too.
Well, it helps increase the value, it helps maintain the value, but you understand that you're dealing with a specific set of guidelines. So if you want to redo a complete exterior of a house, you got to be careful about doing it in the historic district because you got to meet the guidelines that they're going to let you do. So, but people, I mean, a lot of people, that's their dream of owning an older home that they can restore and make it their own.
Yeah, the money pit they call it, right?
Sometimes.
What was that? The Money Pit, right? Was that the show?
Was the
that
movie.
old movie.
Yeah, the movie. There wasn't a radio show called The Money Pit.
Yes.
The Money Pit.
Yeah, there was a
that's the
radio
song.
show with that.
They would have people calling in and asking, questions about fixing up things. And
oh yeah,
it's kind of like a cross between what you do and what Joe Reichel does.
Yes,
it was that kind of a show.
Yeah, that's I mean, you have to know think of any home, whatever project you do. do, it always ends up costing more usually in your house.
Yeah.
And then if you're investing, if you're doing it from an investment standpoint, you really got to be careful of your costs.
When you look at the 30-year loan, do you also have the information? Is it possible to understand because the price of the home will stay the same? I mean, the amount you're paying is going to be better and better each year because you're going to be hopefully making more money as the dollar amount on your mortgage stays the same, right? That's typically the way it works.
Your payment stays the same. The dollars that you owe on the mortgage go down every month.
Okay, so
it amortizes.
But the thing that goes up are the taxes and the insurance.
Well, hopefully, if you're a homeowner in Florida, your taxes aren't going to go up very much.
Not too
because
bad,
of the, Amendment 10, and you have that incentive that a lot of places your taxes can go through the roof. People get on fixed incomes, they have to sell their homes because their taxes are so high.
Right.
But here that doesn't happen. And your insurance costs, you hope, are going to stay pretty steady. I mean, you shouldn't have any great increases in your insurance. I mean, we had, even when the hurricanes came through, for most people, their rates, they got hit, but you have riders that go with it, so that if you have a sinkhole or you have a hurricane, you're going to pay a big deductible.
Do you yourself, or does anybody from Berkshire Hathaway go up to Congress and lobby for certain things?
That's in the great country that we're in. That's what PACs are for. The NAR has National Association of Realtors is very powerful.
So when somebody is at the point where the taxes or the insurance or something gets so high that they can't afford to live there anymore, is the reverse mortgage a viable option? Because you hear these ads for that program, whatever that is.
Reverse mortgages can be a viable option. It's a legitimate product. It's a real mortgage. But I always say that you have to be very, very careful with them. That's a big financial. You're making a big financial decision at that point in time, and you want to really, really analyze the costs involved and what you're going to get out of it. But there are situations where reverse mortgage is a good option.
Are you technically selling your house, but you still live in it until you die? Is that what a reverse mortgage is?
You're not selling it. You're just, instead of normally what happens is you get a mortgage and you pay every month to the bank you're making a mortgage payment.
Right.
With a reverse mortgage, in oversimplistic terms, they give you money and they don't get paid until you sell the house.
Oh, okay.
But all the money they give you, like a home equity,
right?
Okay, they're getting that back with interest when the house sells.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does enable you to stay in your house. You don't have to make a mortgage payment.
And this is there's a certain age?
You have to be 62 and older.
Oh, okay.
I don't have much of an opinion on them. I mean, they're federally insured. They're real mortgage products. But, again, it's not for everybody. But in some situations, they're definitely a good option.
And do both people have to be that age, or can one person be that age, the other one be younger?
Good question.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that.
Bob, we're just about out of time, so let's.
That was a fast
I
half
know.
hour.
I looked at the clock and thought the same thing. What is your phone number?
622-9700.
All right, and that's Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and your website?
BHSHometeamrealty.com.
And if you need any of that repeated, call us. We'll be glad to do that for you. If you want to share the information you heard today, we do have a video of Bob sitting there with his almost green shirt.
What do you mean almost?
It looks greener on the video than it does in person.
Well, good. That helps.
So go online to our Facebook page, or to the WOCA YouTube channel. Plus, you guys share it on your page too, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you can see it all those places and share it. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Fox Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The controversial letter from Republican lawmakers to Iran is being raised by Tehran at nuclear talks in Switzerland.
47 Republican senators warned Iran's leaders that any deal could collapse the day President Obama leaves office. The critics' fear is that an agreement to curb Iran's nuclear activities may not be strict enough, leaving open the possibility for Iran to build a nuclear bomb.
Fox Radio, Simon Owen. A scare in the air.